Hello there, Croeso and welcome. I'm Shadow Lemix and today I'm doing a gameplay overview of Riders Republic. It's an open world racing game from Ubisoft involving a huge number of different types of vehicles from downhill mountain bikes, BMXs, snowboards, bikes, snowmobiles, wingsuits, rocket suits, all sorts. And this game's been on my radar for quite a while. Let me just pick something to have a ride on. Let's go with a downhill bike. And yeah, said this open world game, get to do pretty much what you want. Just have some fun. There's plenty of single player events, and it's a sort of like a basically sandbox open world racing game, as I said before. And it's been on my radar for a while, but I've always been put off because, well, Ubisoft have done this sort of open world game before as a racing game, and it was called The Crew 2, and it was a thoroughly disappointing game. It felt empty, dead, didn't really feel like you were playing with anyone. But this is, well, they've got the formula right with this game. They've got it right indeed. There's so much to do. There's the game, even though right now I'm in an area where there's not many people, but you can see those little white dots there at the top right of the screen. Just indicates there's some players just having a little blast over there. And you'll see players doing events. They are not fully there with you. They're ghosts, but they are playing live, and you'll see people doing events. And while you can't physically interact with them, so there's no chance of griefing in that way, it's a big, huge world, very well populated. We go to the main map here. Yeah, here's the map. And if we take a look, you can see all the different events and terrains and areas that we could play in. And all these white dots here are people playing live right now. And it's that you need for these sort of open world games to work. You need them to be populated, well populated. It's nothing worse than having this sort of big open world game where you're meant to be playing with a huge community of people and it's just dead. But that's just not the case here. It is extremely well populated, got a really good player base, and I'm really glad that this game has come to PlayStation Plus because it means that I can give it a go. As I said, my experience with the Crew 2 put me off playing this sort of game, but as I've already paid for the subscription, I might as well have given it a try, and I'm glad I did because it is a lot of fun. Said you got all these different types of events, races, trick events, got wingsuit events and rocket wing events. We just let the narrator there give me some info about the events I've highlighted, and we'll go through a few of these events. I won't go through the specific controls though, as the tutorial does an extremely good job of explaining how the finer controls work. So we'll just show you I'm going to show you the sort of events you'll be playing, and we'll finish it off with the main draw of this game for me, and that is the mass 64 player race events. So we'll jump into some events now so I can show you what to expect. And it's just a simple case of finding an event you want to play on the map. We'll do something new and clicking on it. You'll be teleported quite close, but not necessarily right on top of the event. You'll have to make your way there, and then from there do the event, and that's basically it. So let's go do this race here, this downhill snowboard race. we've made our way to the snow race event. As you can see, there's plenty of objectives for you to go for, and then you've got different modes that you can sort of play. It says solo mode, but you're playing against other players' ghosts, so you don't have to worry about weak AI when you're doing this, because you're always playing against other players who have done this event. If you're in a group playing with your friends, then you do a versus event, or you can play this against a specific ghost to try and climb the leaderboards for the timings for these specific events. We'll just jump into the main version. We just pick what I want to use. I think we'll go with some skis. So the races are very simple. It's a checkpoint race. The course will be predetermined, and so you can learn the course specifically, improve your times. And it's just said go through the checkpoints and try and make it to the end as quickly as possible. You get these little notification there just letting me know that a mass race is about to start. They start every half hour. And we go. Do a little trick off this. There we go. Controls are really... I missed the checkpoint. But there is a backtrack, as you can see, but if you miss checkpoints, it'll respawn you. But I've lost a load of time. Probably not going to win this race. But the other good point... Whoa, that was messy. But the other good point is that you don't necessarily need to win the race to complete the event. You've just got to get to the end. So don't worry if you're having a horrible time, as I'm showing here with my high skill level. You just got to keep going. You'll learn the routes. And as we get to the finish here we go. It is a race done. Nice, simple. This is a snow trick event. You go downhill, do some tricks, get as high a score as you can. Switch around there, bracket there, land extremely badly. And again, very simple. Just do the course, and eventually, when you get to the end, whoever's got the highest score wins. The tricks are quite easy to do. Got a pretty unique system. This is a mountain bike race. This particular version is going to be a time trial. As you can see in the top right, it's actually going to be 2 runs. So basically do best 2 runs, and the total time is your total time for the event. Then you've also got, like the snowboard event, you've got just straight up downhill. There's some lap events as well. This one in particular, because it's just a time trial, it's just me on my own, but I am racing against times set by other people. But the other event times for the races will have you racing against other players' ghosts as well. You then got bike trick events. These are basically a lot like the snowboard events, but just downhill bikes. Got to do the course, set as high a score as you can. You can see in the top left I am playing. These scores are going against other players. So this is a rocket wing event, but jetpack. It's actually a really good way of traversing the map as well. It's just a simple checkpoint race. You see I'm racing against other players' ghosts, and these can be quite fun. But the good thing about this game is that whatever of the vehicles you prefer, you can focus on that. You don't have to do them all if you don't want. And that's sort of the good thing about it. Through the multiplayer events and the live events, you can keep earning stars, keep leveling yourself up, keep getting your equipment without having to do the events you don't like. So this is one of the Wingsuit events. It looks similar to the rocket suit events, but the aim is to go through these checkpoints and set a score by flying as close as you can to the terrain. It's tricky and it can be scary. Whoa! You see, I used L2 there. It's a little slow mode as a way to just gain a bit of altitude. Most of the controls for this game are very similar across all the different vehicle types. Oh, as I but there, get to show the backtrack feature there. We just up a bit. There we go. So yeah, the controls are very similar across all the different vehicle types, but there are some differences between them. These are obviously different vehicles, and that's a good thing as well. You don't want all the vehicles handling exactly the same, all the different modes of transport. Oh, let's get it up a bit there. Let's get through there. And hit a tree. And hit the same tree again. See if I can get... There we go. This is probably one of my worst events. Definitely not my strongest. And then after this, I'll show you one of the mass races, and we'll end the video there with that. So this is the main hub area. Plenty of people here doing their own sort of thing. This is where you'll join the mass races. They start every half hour. And once the timer goes down, there, you'll have a 5-minute window to teleport to the event, and there you'll be able to join the 64-player mass race, which is what I consider the selling point of this game. You do have other multiplayer events though. Got tricks battles, free-for-all races, got this thing called showdown mode, which is quite a bit of fun, a nice objective-based event. And you see people here just doing their thing, and there's plenty to do in this game. Plenty of people playing. There's always players around you. It's a good blast. If you have ever enjoyed a snowboarding game or any racing game, you're probably going to get a lot of fun out of this. With crossplay on, there is just thousands of people playing at all times, which is just fantastic. So we're going to skip ahead now, and we'll finish this video off by showing one of these 64-player mass race events from start to finish. So here we are for the 64-player mass race events. They're 3 rounds and a multi-race event. So this is round 1. It's going to be a downhill bike race and wingsuit race, and then one of the toy races, which are sort of the crazy vehicles. And there'll be a seamless transition between the different event types, as you'll see as we get to it. It's just a case of surviving. These are not ghosts, so you can get battered all over the place. There we go, we switch into a wingsuit section. We're going to land here, go straight back onto a bike. Some of these events are going to be multi-routes. Oh, this ain't going to go well for me, so I'm just going to skip down to this one. There we go. Yeah.
There's still time to go after a podium finish. Keep at it.
Back to wingsuits. Now, normally in the wingsuit event, it's about getting points, but this is just a straight up race. It's about getting to the end as quickly as possible.
Switching it up.
Once the leader finishes the event, everyone else has 1 minute to get to the end before the event's over and they move on to the next round. Oh, almost hit a pillar there. So far, I haven't won one of these, but I have finished in the top 10 a few times. Felt very good about that. There's some very experienced players that play this game. There we go. This is one of these toy races. Bike with a few oversized tyres. Oh, and that went wrong. Come on, turn. You do get sort of a few annoying moments like that where you can get stuck on the terrain, but you do have that backtrack function. You're just going to have to accept that sort of, when you first start these events, you start doing these mass events, you're not going to win them. There's, you've got to know these courses pretty much perfectly, and you've got to be able to do them without crashing to win, which so far I haven't been able to do, but just the idea behind them is so much fun, so it doesn't really bother me that much. And at the end of all these you get stars, and those stars are used for leveling up your character and various equipment you've got. See, the winner's already finished. I've got now 1 minute to get to the end, and if I don't get to the end, I still finish, still move on. It just gets classed as a, I don't set a time, but we're coming up to the end now. Here it is. And there we go. I died to finish. And then this is the end of round 1. I'll get a some number of points for the position I finished. As you can see here, 32 points for finishing 33rd. And this will accumulate then between the rounds. Whoever's got the most points at the end of the 3 rounds wins. So we'll move on to round 2 now. So this is round 2 of 3. It's a downhill bike race and then a toy special with one of the bikes. And these will always be 2 to 4 stages to each round. 2 to 4 different types of vehicles, shall we say. You know, they're not all of them really vehicles. Let's go, see if we can pull myself into at least the top 10. With all these players, it can get very tricky to see what you're doing. There are some different camera modes, but I genuinely prefer this third-person view. I can see more of what I'm doing and the surrounding area. Although there are times where I will use the first-person view, especially when you're dodging in and out of trees, going downhill on mountain bikes and snowboards. I find it can be sometimes easier to navigate when you're in first-person view. But there we go. That was almost bad. Oh, I don't like doing the top route because I get it wrong. Oh, there we go. Oh, and then I fell down anyway. Here we go. This is that toy bike section. So, where am I? 29. So at least I'm in the top 50% so far. It's really all I aim for. Oh, well, actually, when I first started doing these, all I really aimed for was not to be last. But right now, I've played a bit more, so I'm aiming for at least top 50%. I think would be good for me. Go, 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 go.
Nice! Final switch gate reached! Not long left to go after a respectable finish. Do it!
that was annoying. Lost all my momentum and speed there. But at least I didn't come off the bike, so not too bad. Go to the side and just sprint to the end. Almost a top 20, but not quite. It's now on to round 3. So now we're into the final round. This is a 4-part event, this one. Currently 27th overall, so hopefully I can bring it home for a top 50% finish. We're going to start off with some downhill skiing. I actually really like downhill skiing on this. It's a lot of fun to do. There we go, almost got hit by a tree. Turn. Whoa, that's dodgy. No, I don't want to go in between the trees. You can see I'm definitely playing against other people because I'm almost getting battered about here. This looks like rocket skis. Yes, it is. So obviously, being in the air is slower than being on the ground. Oh god, that was dodgy. There we go. Now into rocket suits, yes. Shout for the trees. Boost up. No, I'm going to miss the checkpoint. Oh, I do it so often. Trying to be too cute with these checkpoints. Go. Nice stretch here, get some boost in. Go on my 20th, which is fine. Finish up with some skiing. This might remind you of Olympic downhill events. It does look like that. You stay in this sort of the snow that's in between the blue lines. The snow is harder, so you go faster. There we go. So I hold R2, I go faster, but turning is harder. You can then use L2 as a brake to sort of drift. And then, there we go, final switch gate. Rockets to end. The leader has already finished. Ah, of course I hit the blue. Let's just go over the top. Let's go around here. Turn. Boost. Raise. Whoa.
Final 10 seconds.
Will I make it to the end? I don't think I will. Nope. I made it into the barrier. But still finished. And I think that was top 20. And that is the mass race. I will then teleport you back to where you ended, 19th. But that should be secure me a top 20 finish.
There's room for improvement.
Oh, 21st. But, well. But there you go. It's the mass race events. And there we have it. That's all the main events then for Riders Republic. There's plenty of other stuff to do in the open world as well. And you can just explore if you want. But this is my gameplay overview of this game, showing you what sort of events and what sort of gameplay you can expect when you get in, and what sort of game you're going to be getting into. Said I'm been nicely surprised by this, especially after my experience with the Crew 2, and I'm quite happy to say that the mistakes Ubisoft made with that game have been fixed for this game. So I hope this video has been helpful for you to let you know what this game is and whether this may be your cup of tea. And I hope it is. I've been having a lot of fun with this, and a lot more fun and a lot more longevity to it than I expected. So if you've got this far in the video, I just want to say diolch and thank you for watching.